Biohazard warning. Entering contaminated zone. Transmissions jammed. Proximity coverage only. Backup activated. System rebooted.
What's going on, agents of the nation? Your boy Sly here with your weekly Division Restock video. As usual, we dive into the two main vendors in the Division and check out what new weapons we can look forward to in our never-ending quest for the most OP weapon of the game. So I'm a little late making this video today, and I apologize about that. I'm usually waiting on the countdown in the menu by the vendor, but I got stuck in some HVT awesomeness. And speaking of that, check this video out right here if you haven't seen it yet. I uploaded it yesterday morning, but YouTube is acting kind of strange and not delivering notifications like it's supposed to. In this video, I go over the fastest and easiest way to get intel and what you can expect from the crazy amounts of high-ends, gear sets, and weapons that drop from these missions. They are crazy and substantial. A definite new weekly favorite activity. But enough about that, let's head on upstairs to the newly named special equipment vendor and check out what our buddy has for us this week. So you guys ready? Alright, and wah, wah, wah. I told you guys, today is not the day for celebration. I'll save you all some time and let you know the DZ is pretty much in the same shape. But nonetheless, if you want to watch it, let's briefly take a look at what we have, and I'll go over the talents here in a few. First up, the Historian. I guess this is now a permanent weapon for the vendor. I have more to say about this weapon, but I'll save it for the end. So, a 204 M1A for 884 Phoenix credits. That's what the Historian is, by the way, an M1A. Then we have a military M870 shotgun, which is the more powerful one available. It's also 204, and it will run you 871 creds. Finally, our last 204 weapon is the classic AK-47. This one will set you back 937 credits. As for gear sets, we have Hunter's Faith Backpack at 191 for 207 credits, and a Predator's Mark knee pad also at 191 and costs 209 Phoenix credits. As for the 204 armor available this week, we have Spec Ops knee pads for 434 credits, and also Spec Ops gloves for 439. Alright agents, let's dive into some specifics, starting with the Historian. Now first off, remember that the damage you see here will not be the same as you see in your game. Damage on weapons is dependent on the amount of firearms your character has, so you could see higher or lower variations for all of these weapons, but the rest will stay the same. So like most named weapons, the talents do not change, although if I remember correctly, last week's Historian had a higher headshot damage multiplier, and this week is only at 148%. Although if you notice from drops around the game, I'm pretty sure they significantly lowered the headshot damage on pretty much all of the marksman rifles. We were used to seeing 160s regularly, but now we're seeing a lot more 140s and low 150s. So this will become the new norm. Alright, 40.4 thousand damage at 300 rounds per minute with 10 in the mag, unmodded. Talents are the same as last week. Prepared, increased damage by 13.5% when more than 40 meters from the target. Then we have two status effects talents. One applies bleed damage and the other applies fire status effect. Both have around a 13% chance to proc, although Intense requires an unrealistic amount of electronics. The Historian was a bit of a letdown, but I'll get to that here in a few. Next up, we have the M870 shotgun, 83.2 thousand at 75 rounds per minute with 5 in the mag, unmodded. To compensate for its high damage, its stats are pretty low across the board. This is definitely a CQB weapon. Talents are dominant, kills performed while signature skill is active, reduces cooldowns of other skills by 8.5%. Next, capable, using a skill improves handling for almost 14 seconds, and then finally brutal. Headshot damage is increased by 24.5% when using this weapon. While brutal is a good talent, I've seen other versions of this shotgun with better. If you've been looking to try shotgun out, this type of shotgun is my favorite, but this one isn't worth the almost 900 credits it takes to buy it. Brutal is a great talent to have though, because it applies per pellet. That amounts to enormous amounts of damage. If you could reroll weapons, this would be a definite buy. Next, we have the baby brother of the black market AK, the classic AK-47. Low damage at 10.3 for its fire rate, which is at 600 rounds per minute, 30 in the mag, unmodded. Decent accuracy, great reload, good range, and decent stability, but it's no black market. So, the talents are competent. Weapon damage is increased by 13.5% for 10 seconds after using a skill. And then destructive. Armor destruction value is increased by 18% when using this weapon. And then finally, we have deadly. Critical hit damage increased by 27%. If this was rolled on a black market with a little better range and stability, it would be a solid buy, or if it was an SMG. But it's on the lower variation of the AK. The talents are great, and if you're a newly level 30 and have trouble finding an AR that you like, that's 204 by the way, then this one is a great starter weapon. However, once you go SMG, you never go back. So unfortunately, this one is also a pass even with these talents. So, about that Historian. Now, I got a lot of hate for being excited about seeing the Historian in my last video. A new named high-end is always exciting no matter where you see them for the first time, and while it was a bit of a letdown, a 204 M1A is never a bad weapon. Period. Now you can see mine right here with the mods, and I was using a 183 forever because I could never find an M1A at 204 and I didn't have the rank for the blueprint. While it won't hold up to a First Wave or a SOCOM that has beast talents across the board, I have no problem saying that this is your next best option until you can find your perfect marksman's rifle. Phoenix credits are not that hard to come by anymore, and while the loot drops have increased, finding a 204 M1A is still halfway rare. You will eventually get one, but like I always say, any M1A is better than no M1A. And while the Historian was a letdown, the balanced talent that everyone wanted and needed on their M1A isn't the beast it used to be and is now better suited for the M44 or other bolt-action rifles. I received quite a few messages from viewer friends out there asking if the Historian really was that bad of a weapon. They told friends that they were thinking about buying it because it was 204 and they were laughed at or dissuaded. If anyone who laughs at you for using a 204 while they are still using a 163 and doing 50% less damage in the process, obviously they are laughing because that's all they know how to do. I had a great M1A at 183, and with the damage talent activated on the Historian, I'm doing 800,000 in headshot damage all the time. While it's not hard to do that at 204, it is with a 163 unless you're wearing a gear set with max talents buffed. I bought it. It's a good weapon, definitely not a god roll or comparable to a perfectly crafted 204 First Wave from the DZ, and definitely better than my old 183 First Wave. But if you're hesitant about upgrading, don't be, man. Completing a few challenges and both lists of the HVT missions will put you back to almost the same amount as the gun costs. It can be done in mere hours. Don't worry about what's popular. Worry about what works, and a 204 M1A works, regardless of what it's called or the talents. It's a beast by itself, the talents are just a little something extra. Alright nation, so with that out of the way, let's move on to the DZ. Like I said, over here is pretty much the same situation, nothing that great, but the blueprints seem to have not changed all that much. Now, I'm only going to hit on the 204 weapons here because pretty much that's what the majority of players are striving for these days. So first up, we have a tactical M1911. Since the update, these 204 high-ends require a rank of 80 to purchase. I know those who just got to 75 a few days before the update are more than a little annoyed, so hang in there guys, but this bad boy will get you 12.2 thousand damage, at least for me, at 310 rounds per minute with 7 in the mag, unmodded, and it will set you back 78,000 DZ dollars. Decent accuracy, great reload speed with decent range for a sidearm and also decent stability. Talents are expert, weapon deals 100% more damage when target is below 30% in health, and then provident. Last bullet of the mag deals 57% more damage. Next up, a black market RPK 74E, also a rank 8204, and this guy will make you cough up 96,000 K if you want to own it. The RPK is an odd gun to begin with, not quite an assault rifle, but not quite an LMG either. It's pretty much a mix of both, like the LSW. One would think that LMGs would be absolute beasts since most of them fire bigger bullets, but not in the Division. Damage at an unimpressive 7886 at 650 rounds per minute with 45 in the mag, unmodded. The damage and rate of fire of a purple superior assault rifle with the mag of a small LMG. Decent accuracy, great reload for an LMG, as well as an outstanding range stat, but low stability. Talents are Meticulous, killing a target has 23.5% chance to refill the mag. Then Destructive, armor destruction value is increased by 18% when using this weapon. And finally we have Determined, killing a target reduces skill cooldowns by 9%. A definite skip here, guys. Way too expensive for way too little damage at way too slow of a speed. Assault rifles and light machine guns are at a bad place in the Division right now. While some assault rifles can be good if modded in the correct way, I think LMGs are pretty lost. Early in the story, LMGs could be used regularly, but after level 30, the destruction of the SMG pretty much overshadows all, and I have a feeling the Division will hit SMGs pretty hard in this upcoming expansion. So yeah, stay away from this one. And finally, let's get to the blueprints. Like I said, not a lot has changed since last week. The rank 75 204s are still the custom M44, which by the way is awesome. And new for this week, we have a black market RPK, which I would also stay away from. Then the Lonely Valkyria still wants people to think it's important with its high level 90 requirement, but with level 50 performance. The good thing about the M44 blueprint is that you can find your perfect setup, and even though Balanced was changed up from how it acted the last few months, it still works very well on bolt action rifles. Every time you load another bullet with the actual bolt itself, that's considered shouldering the weapon, and it's a great talent to have, as where M1As don't really benefit from that much until reloading or your first aim. But that about wraps it up, agents. A rather dull week, right? Like, I was hoping the hype would keep continuing, but it was definitely cut short. As always, thanks for watching and for supporting the smaller YouTuber. If you want to stay up to date on everything, The Division, Destiny, and new uploads from Sly Nation, Twitter is the best place to do so, guys. Follow at Sly Nation and stay in the know wherever you go. But I'm out, y'all. Have a great remainder of the weekend and a fantastic Memorial Day. Stay safe out there, and until next time, this is your boy Sly. Done. Gone. Out.
Ammo inbound. Zone B secure.